You're listening to Inside the Minds podcast with Dante Marsh and Ryan Hyde, where we talk about sports, life, and whatever the hell else we want to talk about.
31-yard penalty to support pass interference call against the Lions this year. Fairly out of the hands, and there's Dante Marsh with the block. And it's going to be a pick six for the veteran. 29th career interception. Almost on cue. 80-yard return for the 10-year veteran.
Welcome to the show, everybody. It's the Inside the Minds podcast. We are with myself and Dante Marsh. Dante, brother, it's been a New York minute since you and I have even talked to each other. What have you been up to?
It's been a while.
It's been a little while, dude. It's been a little while.
I've been same old busy. I took a teacher role at my alma mater, my old high school in West Oakland, McClymonds High School. I'm the PE teacher. I started that in November. I will be coaching defensive backs at Laney Junior College in Oakland, California. Still doing my training, helping develop and mentor young athletes, and just enjoying life, man.
Yeah, definitely. We have to, man. I've been enjoying life too. Are you coaching in the CFL this year at all? Has anybody reached out to you?
Well, I've talked to a few people, but gotta get the money right. I mean, that's an opportunity that was presented to me last year, as you know, in Saskatchewan. Would have loved to have taken the job offer. It just financially it wasn't gonna work out for me. So I guess coach, which was cool. So Craig Dickinson, shout out to Craig. I appreciate the opportunity and everything, and hopefully sometime in the near future those opportunities revisit. But as of right now, I'm teaching, coaching, mentoring, training, and doing me.
Yeah. I was hoping you were going to tell me that the BC Lions reached out to you in a coaching type manner, but I'm guessing not.
RP is the defensive coordinator. That was my teammate for 10 years. So we'll see. Like I said, a lot of people don't understand. It's not just easy like that, right? A lot of people think I should have been hired by my alma mater, my college alma mater.
Yeah.
So like I said, in due time, I'm not rushing or pressing anything. The main thing is loving what you do and making your passion your paycheck, right? When you love what you do, and you're impacting so many young people's lives, right? So for me, I'm still in the mix, highly impactful, and to see these young athletes reach their goals, right? And you're the one guiding them on their journey. That's the most edifying thing to the soul, right? So in due time, I'm not, like I said, I'm good. I'm blessed, and just trying to impart ways of me and all of the experiences that I was afforded, right? I just want to give that to them, and then hopefully they can get the same experiences that I was able to get.
Absolutely. I want to take a second right now to thank the listeners that tune into the show whenever we post new material, which hasn't been that often, but we're going to try and make it more often now that Dante and I have a little bit more time on our hands. We get listeners from China, Korea, Russia, Germany, Australia. I mean, really all over the world right now. And, without you guys, we don't have anything. So thank you for tuning in and listening to our shows. We really appreciate it. And to top that off, I designed the Inside the Minds podcast website as part of a school project, and then I put it live. And I'd like everybody, to get on there, take a look around. There's going to be some new additions coming up in the future if you have seen the website. And if not, then, tune in on YouTube, Spotify, give us a like, give us a follow if you can. All that stuff helps us out along the way and helps us grow as a podcast. So before we go too far into this or anything else, we do have a special guest tonight. That special guest is a former Canadian heavyweight boxing champion. I saw him fight personally in tough man fights in the early 90s in Nanaimo, British Columbia. Without further ado, please welcome to the show, Shane Sutcliffe, Kid Thunder. How's it going tonight, Shane?
Good. Thanks. Can't complain. Life's pretty good.
All right. Nobody likes to listen to complainers. I found that out early, thankfully. Nobody wants to listen to that shit. People tune you out quick, so you got to stay positive, right?
I'm very lucky. Got to build this house 18 years ago right on Miles Lake, and enjoying life, enjoying my kids, and just trying to live the best life I can.
That's awesome. Maybe you can take us back into the beginning, Shane. I'm interested to know, how you got into boxing. Was it that you were a bully in the schoolyard and needed an outlet? Or what happened? How did you find the power?
I started actually the opposite role. I don't know, in grade 3 or 4, and I had a friend getting picked on, kind of pushed up against the wall, and kind of choking him, just being a bully, and stuck up for him, and ended up making the guy look bad. He's a big, strong grade 7. I think I was grade 4, and I ended up getting on round like a bear hug on top, and he was trying to pick me up and smash me. And he tried numerous times, and he was so tired by the time the bell rung that he didn't want to fight no more because he was tired. And then we were supposed to fight after school, and it kind of carried on. And then by time I was going to go to high school, I thought I better go. I moved to Nanaimo basically and started training. Started training in Tamari kickboxing. My mom was a school teacher and very protective, and she didn't want to see me box, didn't want me to get in a fight. My dad would let me shoot guns, he'd let me ride motorcycles, and my mom wouldn't let me do any of that. I moved out when I was 14 and started going to high school, and I fought in my first tough guy contest when I was 14, Get Ready to Rumble in Victoria, which I didn't win, but I lost a split decision in the finals against Jason Heights, who's a local guy. He's done pretty good for himself. I then basically fought wherever I could. I was doing karate at tournaments, and I won the North American Karate Championships, and then at Simon Fraser University, I believe, and then they had World Karate Championships, and I won the World Karate Championships, and I fought in tough guy contests, like toughest man in the Yukon when I was 16, and won, and they won a tough guy contest in trail and a couple in Nanaimo, and had lost a split decision in tough guy contest to John Lambert, who was a Canadian kickboxing champion. I fought him when I was 16, knocked him out in like 20 seconds, laid him out cold. And then after that, they banned tough guy contests, wouldn't let me fight in the finals of the BC Tough Man Challenge. 10 grand in the winner. I'd won the middleweight and trail and the heavyweight and Kamloops, or vice versa, and was going to fight in both. 10 grand to the winner, and the boxing commission wouldn't let me because I was underage and didn't want to get sued, I guess, liability and stuff. I ended up can't fight amateur and taking money from these fights, and which is silly because nowadays, I mean, they got pro basketball players and they go do the Olympics. I don't get the rules, but I didn't really have nothing to do. Got a lot of attention and liked it, and turned pro when I was 17. And I did stuff like I had my pro debut was 6 rounds. Most guys start with 4 rounds. My pro debut was 6 rounds, and I eventually got Eddie Futch was I did a public exhibition bout with Riddick Bowe in Beverly Hills,
Yep.
and looked pretty good. And Eddie Futch took a liking to me, and then we scheduled a fight against Leon Spinks, who's a former world champion and a gold medalist. His brother Michael Spinks won a world title with Eddie Futch, who was the trainer, and we ended up working together after I beat Leon Spinks in Nanaimo, and started training with him in Las Vegas. Lived there for a couple of years, and I would train hard, go home, back home to Nanaimo, have off time with my friends, and be home and not be running and doing weights and doing all the things you're supposed to do on my off time to stay in decent shape. I would take the time off and then went back to Vegas, out of shape, kind of a little bit of, I needed to, I'm training with killers, pros, and kind of fought my first 10-rounder, didn't have a lot of confidence in my conditioning. Ended up losing a 10-round decision in Honolulu. And of course, my manager is already there a couple of weeks early with his wife. And I lose the fight. I lost. My backers kind of pulled out. I ended up having to pack up my truck. I was living in Vegas, pull the U-Haul back to Canada. I ended up rebuilding myself a couple times. Bought on a last minute card at the casino in Montreal, and Interbox was there forming a company that was a management company that I was lucky enough to get signed by, and I got a big signing bonus, and they gave us nice contracts for years, and finally gave me some security. And but I got after a couple of years, I was Canadian champion and felt like I was paying too much tax and wanted to incorporate myself, and instead of them paying me as an employee and whatever. And I had started a whole problem with the other fighters wanting to do it too, and they ended up firing me. I packed my stuff up now from Montreal and went back to Canada, or went back to BC, where I had a home, and I started training again, trying to get something going. I got the card again where I fought Trevor Berbick for my Canadian title. I didn't have sparring partners. I didn't. I fought a smarter fight, but I wasn't in any better shape, and I didn't have enough confidence, maybe. And it was a close decision. I wasn't marked up. I wish I would have fought harder, and lost another 12-round decision to him, and it kind of put my career on hold again. I did rebuild it, got a few wins, and I had taken a fight with, like, let's say, David Tua, right? Who I had been a sparring partner for in Houston when I was younger. And if you know David Tua, he's very nice record, a lot of knockouts. He's a lot like Mike Tyson. He's very short and stocky and hits really hard. And And Mike Tyson on the same night could have fought David Tua for twice the payday, but he didn't. And I fought David Tua in the undercard. And the only bet you could do was over under 2 rounds. Would I make it? I put a couple grand on my credit card that I'd make it past the second round, and had pre-told myself, if I get hurt, I'm taking a knee and getting my shit together because I got to make it through the first couple rounds for sure, right? And the first round, I actually won on the judges' scorecards. In the second round, I was doing good, but I had my hand up good, knowing it. But he came right over top of my guard, kind of right into my face, and yeah, he hurt me. I did what I pre-planned. I rolled to my knee. I waited 4 or 5 seconds. I stood up. I didn't wobble, but Jay Nady's, he's already waving the fight off, and so then all of a sudden I've lost to Trevor Berbick, and then I just lost to David Tua on the undercard of Mike Tyson. And I'm like trying to figure out what I'm doing. I got no management. I take another fight with Brian Nielsen, who's 49-1. He just lost his first fight to Dick Ryan, who was stopped him. Otherwise, this guy had tied the legendary Rocky Marciano's record, and they were all upset, and they wanted an easy fight for him. I wanted to come up and stop him and get a big win. I didn't think I'd win a decision anyway. They made it perfectly clear they were not wanting me to come to win the fight, but I went and thought, I'm not going to win the decision, but I'm going to stop this guy anyway, and I end up taking this fight, and they supplied me with the corner. I went there with the matchmaker and had them by the second, third round. I had different guys in my corner a bit, and by the 5th round, my corner enters the ring in the middle of the round. I get disqualified for my corner entering the ring, and then within a few weeks, I think I got paid like 1 a.m. that night, so I was stressed out about that. And then they had changed it to a TKO in 5 when I was disqualified for the corner that I didn't even fly up there with, coming in the ring in the middle of the round. So I've seen now that was 3 losses in a row, and pretty much I went back. I got a couple more wins. Fought in one guy that was 7-0 in Washington. I can't even remember the guy's name. I beat him on a decision, and then I took one. I can't remember this is, but my last fight was against Louis Monaco, who was he was most famous for knocking out Buster Douglas, who knocked out Mike Tyson. Big steroid freak. He's a very muscular guy. I went the full distance with him. It was a close fight. I lost a majority decision, but the guy in the 3rd round broke my rib cage. You can see that, my rib sticking out. Freaking and trust me, it's not fun fighting with a broken rib. And in the end, if you ever get a broken rib, you got to remember to lay flat on your broken rib. You don't friggin' lay on your opposite side. I laid on the opposite side, and then my rib went over top of my other rib, and then it healed by morning almost. So it's like you can't fix it. So that was my last fight. After that, I was like done, man. I was like, I had broken ribs, I had broken eardrum, and I had just built the house I'm in now, and I never fought after. I think I was 30 years old my last fight, and now I'm just concentrating on my kids. I was married for the last 20 years, and my wife died 5 years ago, organ failure. She was the love of my life, and I was heartbroken, but I have kept it together for my kids, and I have 4 kids. One's 28 and married for a couple of years. And then I have 3 kids still living with me at home. One's 20. He works, pays rent. I got 2 grade 11s. One's 15 and in grade 11. They skipped her over grade 7, went from grade 6 to grade 8 and pretty much getting perfect grades. And my son Torrin, he's like 17, 6'4", 215 pounds. I haven't, my daughter I've taught how to fight. She's had a boxing match and she has a lot of potential. I want her to know well, but I don't really want my kids to fight. I got a lot of damage. Yeah, I've had rotator cuff. I had this surgery in my nose so they could straighten it so I could breathe better. And my ribs sucks. I hate sleeping on it. My thumb, I got arthritis in my thumb because they had reattached the tendon and I broke my thumb when I was younger. There's a lot of regret for some of the things I've done to my body, but in the end, I'm very fortunate, and I have a beautiful home thanks to my wife. And she always, life insurance was. She had life insurance since she had her daughter, who's now 28, right? So family first for my wife, and so now I'm just concentrating on my kids and trying to live a healthy life and have hopefully maybe even a grandkid coming in the next year or so. My wife, my daughter's married and trying to get pregnant, and I'm just enjoying my raising my kids, and thanks to getting the opportunity to build this house, sweat equity 18 years ago, and my wife and life insurance. I just concentrating on my kids and live a good life, and I'm pretty happy, I guess. I don't know. I kind of spurred over most of my career, but I don't know if you got any questions.
Oh yeah, definitely. One name that stuck out to me was Jason Height. So I actually met Jason Height and Keith Madison.
Yeah, he was my first fight I ever had with Jason Height. I was 14 years old, and we went to war, and it was pretty damn close. I got a picture of me connecting with the right hand that looked like a pretty good shot. So
Yeah.
it was my first fight. After that, I was kind of hooked on fighting. I liked it. And then my second tough guy fight, I fought 3 guys in the same night, and they gave us a trip to Hawaii and $1,000 for the winner. And all 3 guys I fought, and one of them was Scotty Olson's cousin. And then all 3 of them I knocked out, and it was just a good night. I remember going out and hanging out with people after the fights, and just after that I was hooked. It was an ego rush. It was exciting. I was young and didn't feel bad about sparring hard because I was so young, and then you're training with adults, and so but eventually you only get as good as the talent around you, and it's hard to travel. All costs a lot of money. You need to make money to be spending money traveling all over the place. But I have traveled a lot in my life. I've gotten to see a lot of the United States, right? And I did fight in Hawaii and where I fought in Brian Nielsen, Copenhagen, Denmark, and I've got to do Jenny Jones show in Chicago.
That's funny. I didn't even know about that until today. I was looking through some footage of you, and all of a sudden I seen you on Jenny Jones, and that was gonna be one of my questions.
Oh, it's hilarious! I wish we had a nice copy of that, because it was a lot of fun. They just called me up one day and said, "Do you want to reunite with somebody?" And she used to be like a portrait studio worker at Sears, and now she's a dancer. Well, they didn't tell me that. I went to the show, and that's what it was kind of about. And it was exciting. We went to Chicago, and the truth is that we were together night even before the show. They had caught us. They put us in different hotels, different sides of the city, but we still got together, and the show still went on, and it was a crazy experience, and one that I can remember, even though I don't have a great memory. I do have a better memory for long ago stuff than I do. My short term memory isn't the greatest, but I definitely had fun. That was a moment in my life I won't forget.
I bet. I've got issues with that too. I had a really bad concussion with my construction accident. And a lot of times my friends are filling me in on stories of things we did because I just draw blanks. Can't remember it.
Yeah,
So
yeah, it's funny. My short term is a little frustrating. Definitely make lists, short lists, so I don't forget things when I go into town or end up going back into town because I didn't do what I should have done. And a little worse than most people. I'm trying to, I try not to get frustrated, and definitely. Definitely paying for some of the choices I made when I was younger.
yeah.
Do you regret boxing?
Mm, everything I have in my life and the respect of people, like people know me here, it's because of fighting. In the end, kind of everything I have financially, everything I was from boxing too. I regret fighting, but you know what? I'd still do it all over again. I'd just do it way better, way smarter. And there's certain fights I could have taken that I didn't take. Like I could have fought Klitschko for a lot of money. Vitaly Klitschko, way back in the day, I was like, I would have most likely lost because it wasn't the right time and I was young or whatever. But there's certain I could have fought John Ruiz. I could have had a couple fights that I didn't take, and maybe I should have taken the chance because I ended up taking other fights I lost anyway. So it's all about consistency and staying in shape and getting. I would get in good shape, fight a few times, and then I'd get out of shape and not on the off time. I was supposed to be doing certain runs and certain bits in the gym, and I was skipping out and just hanging out with my friends and being a teenager. But we're still going through money every month, So in the end, my backers need to make millions of dollars just to break even, and so I just kind of killed my career. I have injuries with like my rib. When I got my rib, I pretty much quit after that fight. Thing is wasn't really I wasn't getting paydays anymore to make it worth my while. I just needed to find something else. But I don't. It is who I am, and it's made me who I am. And so, in the end, I would have still fight. Some reason I still love fighting. I still watch the big boxing fights, but I'm really into the UFC. I started off karate kickboxing. The only reason I did boxing is because there was no real money in the kickboxing. I mean, Gord Reset, Mickey Griffin, Lloyd Anderson were all world champion kickboxers from our club, and none of them had big money, right? So I was always I always had backers, and in the end of it, it's all about millions, and then they rush you because they want to get their money back when it starts just leaking. And so yeah, if I could have go back in time, I definitely wouldn't have turned pro at 17. I would have, fought it's ridiculous that they wouldn't let me go amateur because I'd taken some money fighting in tough guy fights. That's kind of stupid. So really, they should have, because now they're letting pro basketball players play in the Olympics. I don't get it. Right? Would have maybe changed my life if I could have practiced before you turn pro. Because then every time you make a mistake, it's on your record forever. It never gets erased. Right?
Yeah.
So I was always like, when you look back, like 5, 6 wins in a row, that's about all I'd ever get. And I'll lose another fight and start all over again. And eventually just hang it up. And, I'm not, I love fighting. I watch all the fights. I do still work out, but I'm not interested in seeing. I had my daughter fight one because I wanted her to know how to fight and know how to punch. But my boys, they're not going to fight. I'm not going to have any of that. I definitely have some injuries and things that happen that make me not want to see my kids do it. But I'm okay with my life. I am happy the way everything turned out for me. I am very fortunate. Things could be worse, so I'm feeling quite blessed, and we'll just try to remember and learn from my mistakes, and life goes on.
Yeah.
Oh man, fighting on a Mike Tyson undercard.
Yeah, I was. I also, got 10 grand one time, freaking, just when he was wanting to fight Peter McNeely. They wanted like backup fights, freaking, just in case fights fell through. I think I had 17-3 record or something like that. And they were looking for white guys. Same thing. I was living in Vegas when Tyson first came out of jail, man, and he was like blowing through sparring partners, and I could have sparred with him a couple grand a week. I was scared of him. I didn't want to spar with him. Thing is, I was sparring with Riddick Bowe. Same time, like he gave me 12 stitches with the uppercut from my headgear being on too tight. And then we were at one of the hotels doing sparring before his third fight with Holyfield, and tore my headgear strap right in the bottom of my chin with an uppercut, and got like 12, 13 stitches. But it was always fairly positive. My years living in Vegas, I wasn't even of age, so it wasn't hard to stay. I wasn't even allowed in the casinos. I was 19, 20, right? And they ID pretty hard. But I definitely got to experience a lot of life, and thank goodness for my wife, and I'm still here where I am today, and I'm just concentrating on my kids now.
Yeah, good deal.
Yeah,
It's
no, I tough life, and it's always good to have confidence, and like all my kids have confidence, and they I've done pretty good job. I'm happy. You can tell a lot about a person just by their kids, and I got some pretty good kids.
nice. That's always a bonus, right?
Yeah,
One
for sure.
one connection we have, Shane, that I wouldn't realize until the future later on. So my girlfriend, her cousin is Brian Zuros.
Oh
So
yeah, I love Brian.
what I'd like to know, and I asked you about this when we first started talking, because you never know. Sometimes relationships end bitterly, and you don't want to bring up a name or you don't want to say the wrong thing. But I was like, you know what, I'm going to ask Shane. So I asked you. I said, do you know Brian? And you said you did.
Oh,
And
I
everything had
have
ended.
fond memories of Brian, because you got to remember, Brian was always a big, strong guy, and he's a kickboxer for Don Arnott, who was my first manager way before we started even training. He was a fighter like 10 years earlier than me, right? And we started training together. I don't know where it is, but when I won that first tough guy contest, and I was like just turned 15 years old, and I won the trip to Hawaii and some money, and he ended up picking me up and carrying me on his shoulder, and they got a picture in the newspaper of him holding me up on his shoulder after I won the tournament and whatever. And yeah, we know we had some wicked sparring sessions, and no, he's a good guy, and he's actually on my friends list that I've been trying to, when there's these fight cards on the pay-per-view, I invite my friends over, and he's one of them.
Nice. Yeah. So was Brian I remember him being in your corner. Was he your sparring part, or sorry, your trainer?
Yeah.
Or
Well, no, I trained at Tamari, Don Arnott, and that was where Brian trained too, right? He was a Don Arnott fighter from Tamari, like 10 years earlier than me, but he would help out with the promotion, and he's would be there, and I would be sparring with him, and he fought, if I believe, in the heavyweight division, and then I fought in the middleweight division because I was only like 170, 15, 16 years old, right? Thing is that really, I don't even consider a guy really a heavyweight till like 220. And so I was like 19 years old before I should have turned pro. Like, I turned pro, I was 194 pounds, and that's a cruiserweight. And then you cut a few pounds and you're a cruiserweight. Thing is that, and now these guys are huge, man. Tyson Fury and these guys. I mean, I fought one guy, Marcellus Brown, who's 6'10", 236 pounds, and I remember firing a shot, boom, and that hit his shoulder. I mean, it's hard, and when you punch up 10 inches above your head, it gets your whole power line off, and you lose a lot of your power, especially when you're hooking up high. If you don't get your elbow up as high as the punches, and these guys are huge now. Like, these guys nowadays are just so big that it's a different world. I'm not saying that these skilled heavyweights are way better fighter than the old days. It's just a different weight division. I mean, these guys are huge, and I think that I don't know. I definitely wouldn't have thought about going pro at 194 when the heavyweight champions are like 250 pounds of muscle. It's not wasn't the very smartest. Really, I had all these young. They liked me. Bruce Allen, Murray Pesam. I had lots of Jimmy Bettner, Stuart Forsberg, Alistair McClown owns Helijet. I had a lot of help, Sandy Woods, Bob Wood. I had a lot of guys that really wanted me to fight and do some big fights and that. But really, in the end, I just needed years of development without rushing me, and my life could have been different. I went, they just tried to do what Mike Tyson was doing, and I'm no Mike Tyson. The thing is that, but it was exciting because I happened to start off fighting bombs, didn't know how to fight, and I was knocking them out, and I was so young that I was getting all this attention. But, long story short, I think that definitely was rushed, and you need to have good people around, because when you're a tough kid, you'll take fights that really aren't that smart. I needed to be, they need to be more careful with me, and things would have been different. But coulda, coulda, shoulda. There's no point talking about things I could have done different, because in the end, you got to. If you want something, you got to live clean, and you got to train on your off time, and you got to. There's basic rules that you got to always follow, and you don't even want to be able to think when you're tired. You got to know them, and putting everything together all in the right time and the right moment isn't always easy to do. So you need to be under pressure and have good sparring, and if you don't put it all together, it's hard to be the best you can be. And it's not a big sport in Canada, and there's not a lot of fighters. So really, the only way I was training and getting better was going to the States and training in gyms that had multiple fighters that were better than me. And I was always the king of the gym, coming around, and I would. So it just makes bad habits. It makes bad habits. It's if you're in the gyms, you're fighting, just trying to win rounds. Instead, I'm sparring with people that I'm punching in the shoulders because you don't want to crack them in the chin. It's just not the same. The whole stress level. When you're at real war, you burn through more energy. It's harder to relax, and when people are punching at you, you can't be all tight. You need to roll with things and relax, and get to time things, and breathe out when your guys are hitting you in the stomach. And there's just so many things to take into account that you need to not have to worry about your condition. You gotta, sprinting and explosiveness is so important for a guy like me. I didn't have great reach. I needed constant pressure. So without constantly being in fantastic shape, you don't have much of a chance fighting the way I used to fight. It's hard to win them all when you're trying to be so aggressive. And the truth is, I was a puncher, but I'm no Mike Tyson kind of puncher, right?
Yeah.
So, but I didn't, you had to learn. You had to learn that. I mean, I had Eddie Futch, who trained Joe Frazier and Ken Norton and Larry Holmes and Michael Spinks and freaking tons of other guys. He said I had potential to be a world champion, but I lost my focus, and and then once you lose your backing deal and you don't have the money to be flying around and training, then you end up just training with your local guys in the gym, and none of those guys are fighting on television, right? So in the end, I pretty much look back at my career, and I'm just very lucky that I'm still in the house that I'm in today, and very lucky that I got to work off 45 grand in sweat equity 18 years ago. Otherwise, I don't know how I'd be doing. But I am very grateful. There are people that show me respect and are nice to me. All these years later, I still it feels good to be noticed and recognized. And heck, now I'm talking to you.
Yeah. Dante, this is brought a question from me to you. I don't remember if I've actually ever asked you this, but in your career, not in your personal life, is there anything that you regret or anything that you wish you could redo?
Oh, probably lots.
I don't have many regrets.
No? Wow.
I think I fulfilled everything I set out to do as a kid. It pretty much happened. It didn't happen the way that I foresaw it to happen or the way I
Good for you.
But there's some things that I've probably knowing what I know now, I would have done a little differently, like you said earlier, smarter, right?
Yeah.
But to be 100% unequivocally, without a doubt, honest, I don't really have many, if any, regrets because I think my career played out the way it was supposed to play out. Could it have been better? Yeah. To me, better. 11-year at some point Hall of Famer in the Canadian Football League career versus those same amount of years in the NFL. You get what I'm
Right.
saying? I mean, it's debatable. I got 2 Grey Cups. Um, like I said, I'm on the ballot. I've been called. I'm kind of waiting on that thing versus 4 or 5 years, maybe 6 years, or even 11 years in the NFL and not winning a Super Bowl. Because money, the thing of it is you're gonna spend that money. Now, unless you get, and I'm speaking football terms, right? Unless you in that upper 1 to 2% that hits $100 million salary, I mean, you pretty much gonna spend that money. That's just what it is. So, um, going back to, I was having a conversation yesterday with one of my good friends, and I'm like, dude, I when I was young, like college and a young man, I love this shit so much I would play it for free. That's the type of passion that you have to have and the obsession with it to be very good at it at a high level. Obviously knowing what you know as an older man, hell no, I gotta secure that paycheck because we all know, you know, the toll that the game takes on your body. It's a very physical game. It's real similar to boxing, except for you got equipment on and shit. So your body, I got injuries to this day that I sustained that I live with for the rest of my life. I've had a couple concussions, but I got all my, mentals together. So far, so good. Um, so I'm not really worried about that. But
That's good.
it causes some trauma in your regular life. I went through a divorce. I think that my career played a role in that. I'm not gonna say that was the sole reason, but it played a major role in that. Um, but I wouldn't do it different. I'd do the same thing all over again. Because that blessing that you have, that God placed on your life is for you. You get what I'm saying? It's not for a woman that you marry and have children with. Your destiny is for you. Now, if you find a mate that's willing to, you know, take that journey with you, then that's a bonus. But everybody, both men and women, have a destiny. And that what God has for you is for you. And
Yeah.
sometimes, man, when you on your journey to greatness and accomplishing shit that was bestowed upon you, some people not gonna be on the ride for the whole journey.
Yeah. 100%. I absolutely agree with that. I mean, some people, they're not meant to be for the full meal deal, right? They're meant to be for a flash in the pan or a couple of years or an hour. They're not meant to be with you the whole way. So it's just the way it goes. Just the way it is.
I feel like
Well,
everything
I
that
got a
you
picture.
oh, go ahead.
I was just saying, I got a picture I just pulled out of me, 18 years old. This guy was 19-1, 17 knockouts, and I stopped him in the second round of the same night that Tyrell Biggs broke my jaw after doing all right. I was 18 years old there. That picture is from Sports Illustrated.
Nice. Yeah.
Just get that. And there's that other one with Tyrell Biggs. And they're doing that exhibition bout with Riddick Bowe in Beverly Hills. Back in the
That's
day.
awesome. Yeah.
Thanks, guys.
So Shane,
So-
I recall that you were supposed to actually fight, or there was talks of you fighting Mike Tyson. How close was that to happening?
Well,
And,
when he came out of jail and he fought Peter McNeely, they were looking for, a white guy that they thought would be, the right fight for him, right? I just happened to fit the scenario, and I was in Vegas training, so they did know me and stuff, and I was one of the guys that got some money to make sure that case. In the end, they picked Peter McNeely, but even after they did, they still had backup in case the fight didn't happen and they needed to fill in fight, and that's what I got to do. It was around the same time as I was living there training with Eddie Futch.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So who's the hardest puncher that you faced?
Oh, easily David Tua. The thing is, David Tua can really punch, man. I've only been knocked down a couple of times in my life. I've been, I had pre-told myself when I get hurt from David Tua, I was gonna take a knee. That was my plan. I went over and over my head because I have been a sparring partner for David Tua in Houston, Texas, pitching buck around the day, and so I knew he could punch, and I just watched that he had knocked out Asim Rockman when Hasim Rockman had taken a knee, and then Tua boom boom hits him with hooks and stops him. Right. The thing is, and I had gone into that fight saying to Jay Nady, well, if I get hurt, I'm taking a knee. If he hits me and I'm down, I hope he disqualifies his ass. And I never should have said that because he looked at me like I'm trying to fix a fight or something like that. I don't know. And the thing is, next thing you know, sure enough, I'm in the second round. I won the first round. I'm in the second round. You got to remember, he's like, what, out of 45 fights, he's got like 38 knockouts or 41. He's like, high percent. He caught me. I went down on my face. I rolled to my knee. I shook my head. I waited a few seconds. I got up and they stopped the fight. That fight should not have been stopped. We're fighting for the North American heavyweight title. He's the number one contender in the world. Just turned down the fight with Mike Tyson. So Mike Tyson can fight Owen Norris for like 16 million instead of 30 against Tua. And I fight him on the undercard, right? He definitely could, I've seen lots of guys that can punch. There's lots of guys out there that can punch hard, but I can't say I never even sparred with Tyson. I could have. I always idolized him. He was always my favorite. And truth is, I was a little intimidated because I could have sparred with him, man. But the guys, I was talking to one of his sparring partners, and the guy's missing a couple teeth, and I just like, I was already sparring with Riddick Bowe, and that was scary enough. And he's a boxer. He comes out and boxes you, right? Thing is,
Yeah.
I was young, right? Thing is that, but no, definitely. I would say my favorite fighter is Mike Tyson. Except for Muhammad Ali and whatever in the old days. Oh, of course, the UFC I think is unbelievable. Like I do believe John Jones is fucking the best fighter in the world. But that is ultimate fighting. That's not boxing. But we'll see how what's that heavyweight, that big huge guy that's maybe gonna have a boxing fight that retired. He's the UFC heavyweight champ. And then God, I have bad memory for names, but you know which guy I'm talking about. He's freaking huge. He punches so hard, whatever. I can't believe you guys don't know who I'm talking about. The guy who was the heavyweight champion, he retired because UFC won't pay him the money he deserves to fight. And he sees, remember, even Tyson Fury was talking about having him fight with UFC size gloves on, but a boxing fight.
I think I remember that.
Yeah.
I watch more boxing than UFC.
I just started. I just been into the UFC. When I first started in tough guy fights and the karate, I was like in a kickboxing gym. I would have went down that road if I had the chance, but it was more like cockfighting, kind of like there was no real sport back then. And I just never got the chance. Not that, you know, not that that would be a great living either, but you know, definitely, you know, that's where I was. Karate, kickboxing more than straight boxing. I trained for the first 6 or 7 years at a kickboxing club, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, for
Crazy,
sure.
man. Yeah, you definitely have to have. I mean, without a better way of putting it, you have to have a big pair of balls to jump in the ring of the
Yeah.
old the tough man contests, because
Well,
they were pretty crazy back in the day.
well, the thing is, you never know who you're fighting, and
Exactly.
guys are
Yeah.
very unorthodox, and you getting into a lot of guys that think they're better street fighters than they are boxers, and so you get a lot of awkward shit, and you know, then you turn pro and you're fighting guys that know how to freaking jab and move and use angles, and it's a different game. It's hard to yeah, I was learning so many new techniques. Once I got good trainers, they got to start from the ground floor, and my ground basics were very poor, right? So, you know, that's why my record looks more like a hockey team than it does you know, a boxing record. Looks more like a hockey season, right?
Yeah.
But in the end, I'm you know, I'm still here, and I you know, I'm fairly happy.
Definitely. Well, Shane, I appreciate you coming on the show tonight. It's been a
Yeah,
lot of
no,
fun
thanks
catching
for
up with
having me.
you. I appreciate you taking the time out and letting the
Yeah,
world know, you know, what you did in your career and where you're at now
yeah,
and everything in between.
yeah. Well, I appreciate it. Maybe we can do it again sometime.
Definitely, Shane. It's been fun. Thanks a lot for joining us.
All right. Thanks, guys. We'll talk to you later.
Sounds great. Thanks,
Take care,
Shane.
guys.
That was a great a great interview with Shane, a fighter I remember when I was younger. At the So You Think You're Tough fights with my dad, we would go, and yeah, he always stuck out in my mind, and wondered what he did with his career and where he went, and there you go.
The only thing with the boxers, um, the ones we grew up watching and revering and having a lot of love and admiration for, they paid the price.
Yeah, yeah,
A lot of them taken advantage of financially. A lot of them squandered, made bad decisions with their money. So it's kind of like when you look at it now, everything is so much more of a business because I think it's less about the love for what it is and more about the bag.
hmm
Not only in boxing, but I think football, basketball, baseball, rapping, the music industry. All this shit is the same shit. It's no longer about the love and the passion about what it is that you're doing. It's more about I just want to get paid. I want the bag. I want to do all the shit that comes with it, all the material shit. I don't know. Like I was having this conversation the other day. You have young people that have a me. Like I didn't have a me. I had my dad, which was phenomenal. But did he go play Division I college football? No. Did he play in the NFL? No. Did he play in the CFL? No. He didn't play. He didn't do none of the stuff I did at that level. So he coached me a couple years during Pop Warner and kind of became just my biggest fan and supporter, right? And taught me so much shit about life. He was limited in how far he could take me as like, my dad taking me, his son, getting him ready for that level, opposed to how I can take his grandson, my son, with the knowledge and experience you get what I'm saying?
yeah,
So it's guys like me didn't exist in the 80s and the 90s, really. Like if they did, it was gonna cost a shitload of money to
hmm
to talk to them, right? Um, it's just beyond me how much information and the availability of resources that there are today, and these young people refuse to take advantage of it.
yeah.
It's blows my mind. So it's just been on my mind the last week or two, and you know, I just like, damn, man, what happened? What happened to the person that was the persistent, consistent? I'm gonna get it done. I'm gonna chase this shit relentlessly, and I'm gonna accomplish it. That
Yeah.
just I'm not seeing that attitude enough with the young people. I don't see it at all, and it's like I'm just so thrown off because if we had the availability of all these resources, man, who knows what would have became? Like, how much
Yeah.
better could I have really been if I had internet or a cell phone instead of a beeper?
Yeah.
You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
Yeah. Absolutely, man. The one thing that, and I guarantee you've seen this. I was playing ice hockey last week with a younger goalie. He's about 18. So we're talking on the ice, and he's all, "You got to do it this way to look like this. You got to look like this. You got to look like this while you're doing it." And then he's all in the dressing room. He's showing me his fucking Subaru car with a loud exhaust. Look at this. Listen to this. Is it really all show and what you look like doing it? Because Dante, when I'm on the ice, I just want to stop the fucking puck. Pardon my language. I don't give a fuck how I look doing it. I'm there to do a job, and that's stop the puck. Is that just the way kids are these days? Of how I look like this? Like,
Yeah, it's more of a show. So, for example, the kids are rather get they're more concerned with the amount of likes that they'll get on social media versus like they're afraid of failure. We hosted a camp. Shout out to Shaq Thompson, BT, Sid Quan Thompson Family Camp, third annual in Sacramento. We did yesterday, right? And you can notice there's some kids, like you got a bunch of us former NFL players out there um, giving instruction and coaching and teaching. And it's just a beautiful situation. Like 400 kids, right? Free camp at that. Um, some of them being very discouraged if they didn't look dominant in their one-on-one rep. That's what we're here for. We're coaching you up. This is a camp. It's this no, there's nobody giving out scholarships at this free camp today. Like it don't count. They're so concerned with failure. Like, I don't want to be seen failing at something. Like everything, perfect. Just alluding to what you just the point you just made. Everything has to be a highlight.
yeah,
But that's a false sense of reality of life. Like on my Instagram, social media, this is really me. This is the shit I do. I smoke cigars. I work out. I'm a PE teacher at a high school. I'm a junior college football coach. I'm an adjunct professor. I mean, I wear a lot of hats, but I'm having fun. Like I don't post shit that's not me. And like, oh, it got everything has to be a highlight and it's just this shit is just turned into fake. Like the real is not valid, but the fake is the real now. Like you get what I'm saying? Just so much bullshit, and it's steering these kids down the wrong path. And I think we're in a sad state of affairs in regards to let's look at ninth graders, right? By the time they get out of high school, they're not gonna have a fucking clue.
no,
Like literally come in my class, it's PE, physical education. All they want to do is sit on their phone. You ask them to walk for 10 minutes around the track. Ryan, walk. I didn't say run. I didn't say jog. I said
you said walk.
walk for 10 minutes.
Yeah,
And I'm going to bring you up and give you some bullshit jumping jacks, some body squats, some push-ups for the young men in the class. And I'm going to kind of, either we're going to create a game, in the gym or on the football field, or I'll give you free time. I got, basketballs, footballs, jump ropes, et cetera, et cetera. How long is it over yet? Oh my God, it's hot out here. Like, I bullshit you not. It's just never enough. So it's like, what are you gonna do when you have to go to work and your
yeah,
boss can't even have your fucking phone on your person? How are you gonna survive for 8 hours without your goddamn phone? Like, these are the things that I'm in my mind questioning. because
Mhm.
it's so beyond me how the basic concept of this is a tool to enhance your day-to-day life. This
Yeah.
is life.
Right. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's man, I don't know. I don't know. I think I'm just so motivated to talk to them and give them the real. You know what I mean? I always talk to my students or my clients or my players. I'm always talking to them because I want it to get back to the way it was when we were that age. We had villages. When
Yeah.
I say villages, we had a bunch of people working together or inadvertently working together, being a piece of, playing a role on that journey for that said individual. Whether they knew the other people that were playing the roles or not, everybody on your journey, you had teachers, you had coaches, you had your parents. I was blessed and fortunate enough to have both my parents. My dad passed when I was 26. My mom passed, 7 years ago. So, I mean, you know, I was blessed and fortunate to have that. But even if some that didn't have their biological parents, you either had an aunt, an uncle, a grandparent, whatever you were lacking in the home back then when we grew up, you had like coaches that were great mentors and surrogate fathers that played a
Yeah.
pivotal role in the development of said young person.
Yeah.
I just want to get back to the essence of that because where we going as a world is just on some bullshit. And
Mm.
I'm just really not feeling it because nobody wants to work. And when I say work, I'm not even talking about like a job. I'm talking about as a student, and I know I'm rambling, I'm running off on a tangent, but it's just on my mind. Like my job when I was growing up was to go to school and get good grades. My mama
Yeah.
and
Mine
dad
too.
like, you ain't gotta go to work. We ain't nah, nah, nah. You play sports, you go to school, get good grades, play sports. That's your job.
Yeah.
And in exchange for that, we're gonna provide a roof over your head, we're gonna buy groceries, we buy school clothes. That's basic. When you break it down to layman dummy terms, that was the deal. That was the real,
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
was that was the deal. I
Yeah.
go to school, get good grades, play sports, be the best version of me that I can be, you know, and you're gonna take care of me. So I didn't have to go out and like some other teenagers and get summer jobs and shit like that. So I just don't understand how they don't value that. They don't understand that concept. You
No.
come to school and you don't want to do anything. And anytime an adult asks you, not tells you, but asks you to do a task, oh my God, it's doing too much. And just I don't get that shit in these times we're living in. I just don't get it.
So when you see that, if you're either on the field coaching or you're in the school system teaching, running, PE class, um, how hard is it for you to not roll your eyes and just say "fuck it" then and like walk away? Like how are you able to contain yourself during those moments?
I don't just say fuck it. I'm too attached. I'm too emotionally attached to the idea of I know who I am. I'm great. I'm blessed immensely. So I was put in this position for a reason. You know, God gives his most difficult battles to his strongest soldiers, right? So yeah, I'm venting in a sense to you, my co-host, my boy, my friend, but these are day-to-day things. I am not I just haven't got desensitized to say fuck it because I get a nice
Yeah.
paycheck. I don't
Yeah.
I don't think that's in me to do it now. I'm not gonna lie. Sometimes it usually happens on Friday too. Where the
Yeah.
kids is fucking they fucking is ape shit. Like they do shit just like y'all just waited till Friday to do all this stupid shit, right?
Yeah.
But I do know that it's my old high school. I understand the demographic. You
Mhm.
know, I'm from that soil. So it doesn't it I understand some of the difficulties that some of these students are going through or have, but still in all, it's not nowhere near what it was when we were coming up. A lot of these
Yeah.
kids are just spoiled ass brats. They don't even eat lunch at the school. They get DoorDash brought to them at school. They order food every day. I'm
I
telling
never
you,
even sorry, dude. I never even thought of that. I'm sorry, but I'm not surprised. But I never even thought of that. That's crazy.
they don't even eat in the cafeteria. They too good to eat that shit. Same shit I ate 20 something years ago. They ain't. They're getting food delivered to the school. Like
Wow.
they're ordering shit like Uber Eats. Like I'm just like that shit is not cheap. I mean,
Dude, you gotta start up on a Friday just to fuck around. You gotta start up Dante Eats, or just just fuck with him a little bit, right? Come on. What?
it's I'm venting, but I'm also just I'm trying to understand because I'm pretty good. Like I said, I think I was placed in these positions for a reason. So it bother me? Yeah, it pisses me off. But at the same time, I'm gonna help them. I'm gonna tell them, look, you want some bullshit. Let me explain something to you. The
Yeah.
world does not care. The world is not fair. So you guys are just floating, not really understanding the state of the world right now. Do you know that the US dollar is gonna be is the value of it is gonna just be nothing? Do you understand that other countries are like linking up to create bricks to create they want to stop relying on the value of the US dollar? Do you guys understand that? You guys are on your phone doing TikTok and shit, challenges, but you're not paying attention to the shit that's going on really in the real world. You know how high gas is, you know what I mean? How high goddamn dozen eggs is at the store. Just sit back and look and see what's going on. They're not even, and they're on this shit more than us, and they still don't have a clue.
Yeah.
So I talked to them from a realistic standpoint. I said, I ask my students all the time, I said, do you want me to give you a pretty lie or the ugly truth? Which one is it?
Take the ugly truth every time, personally.
Exactly. But they it's I'm not gonna give up because even though you have a bunch of students, one or two or three or four or five that may listen out of 100 or 200 or 300 or 1,000, you still made an
It's
impact.
worth it.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
definitely worth
Yeah.
it.
I mean, it comes down to maybe in 20, 30 years that student as an adult might say, like, man, that Mr. Marsh, that Coach Marsh, um, really reached me at the time when I was kind of unreachable, and I'm here now because of him. I mean, if you were told that, I mean, that would be, that would mean everything to me if somebody told me that I had that much influence on their life, you know?
I had a couple of those instances. So and like I said, you can't you can't compare like that. The feeling is just so edifying to the soul because like, damn, like we don't really sit and think about stuff like that. We kind of just, when it
Mhm.
really, it's a humbling experience to know, like, dang, I really poured into this individual. Now look at him, that was dope as shit. Like, he took everything that I told him, or she took everything that I told her, and made it relatable, and then it translated into success for them. That's where I get all, you know, I feel good, but it humbles you because it's like, yeah, damn, God truly used you as a vessel, right, to
Mhm.
reach some of these people. So I don't know, man. Um, we none of us are perfect, but we genuinely got these good hearts, right? So, like I said, being placed in positions for a specific reason, and I get that. And my thing is, I always, as the as I've gotten older, I started to think like, yo, for my eulogy, what do I want people to say about Dante? I
Yeah.
don't want people to come up and lie, you know. Mm. And I don't want people to come up and be able to talk shit about a bunch of egregious shit that I've done. So I have to start living my life in a way where if people were speaking at my funeral, they will have excellent things to say.
That's right. Yeah,
And
I've been doing that too, man.
legacy, man.
Definitely. Yeah.
You want to. That's where my mind is today at 44 years old. Like, damn,
Mhm.
I gotta live up to my great grandma Marsh. I started thinking in these greater terms because we don't like when you young, you don't give a fuck. You don't think about your great grandparents and shit that they went through,
No.
did sacrifice for you to even generations later to be in a position that that you're in. And now I think about that stuff now because it's like, yo, you know, I want to I want to put myself in a position to still, the Tupac effect or the Malcolm X effect or the Dr. Martin Luther King effect, right?
Yeah.
Long gone, still gonna be a legend, breathing the dead. That's that's kind of where I'm leaning towards thinking nowadays. So everything
Yeah.
we count, right?
I don't know if I think for me to kind of see things in that way, um, or having people close to me that have passed away, to
Mhm.
realize that life is over short. And I realize that as we get older, as we mature, we're going to see things differently. But I think a lot of it for me is realizing that, this isn't this game is a flash in the pan and we're out.
Mm.
Things can happen quickly. And I think that's where I started to think that way.
No, I agree with you 1000%. Seeing my mom, it's already been 7 years now, like 2016. That shit seems like yesterday, but it's already 7 years. And then my dad, 2005, a night before we played Calgary in preseason. So, you know, I think about him all the time. 'Cause, my go-tos, I talk to him about, just sit there and talk about nothing, just great conversations, right? So you're right. So that propels you, like puts fire under your ass to give you the sense of, "Ah, shit, tomorrow not promise. And this past couple of years I went to a couple of funerals of some childhood friends of mine. And that puts things into perspective. One of them I had talked to on a Friday for about an hour. And then that Sunday, had an overdose, accidental overdose. It was laced with fentanyl or whatever. So that threw me for a loop. I'm on the phone talking to you for over an hour. We like good. You sound good, everything's good. And then Sunday, it happens at Monday morning, I get a text. So it's just like putting things in perspective, like, yo, I can't take none of this shit for granted. I gotta every day that God blesses me or the most high, whatever entity that's the highest of is
Yeah.
giving me the ability to wake up again. I got another 24 hours to go try to chase this shit.
Yeah.
And the main thing is just the biggest misconception that people have is we got time.
Yeah. I'm going to bring up name up to you right now. um, you and I had talked about having him on the show. Unfortunately, it was either last year or the year before he passed away. You will probably remember. And because he can't join us, I just wanted to talk a bit about him. And that player was Lynn Shell. Lynn had stopped, I think it was a shooting, and I don't remember where. It was in a school. I think he was teaching. And
Okay.
somehow I believe, yeah, he was able to wrestle the gun out of the shooter's hand or something. What do you remember about Lynn Shell?
Lynn J. Lynn J was hella funny. And it's crazy you say that because I was going through my phone. I got like a 250 gig iPhone. And I was just going through my phone and then I came across his contact. And I had talked to Lynn J. Not to like it wasn't far apart from him succumbing to what he succumbed to. I didn't know, you know, this hella funny. uh a guy that had a good heart, real good heart. Um stood for shit. Like was adamant about standing for something. He was one of those. So I myself, I feel like I'm that way. Like I stand for shit. You know what I mean? If I believe, I'm firm on it. I'm gonna stand on it. He was one of those. Another alpha male, you know. But once again, charismatic, hella cool. Like I said, funny as shit. Like always cracking jokes, always, then to do the serious shit. It was just he was a good teammate for the couple years. I had to, you know, had him as a teammate. And like I said, we he's in Florida. I'm back in California. We text and shit. Like we text not too far apart from the incident, and I couldn't believe it. And him and Byron Parker were real close because they both were in Toronto before they came to BC. So me and Byron
Yeah.
talked. Man, Jay was a good dude, man. So yeah, rest in peace, man. I came across his contact the other day. A couple people's contact on my phone that's no longer here. So shit, it's like we don't have the time we think we have. So it's like
No.
try to max it out. Um, and every day is a blessing. So like I said, just try to keep chasing. That's the beauty of life, right? And I always use this analogy. I tell some of my players, I said, Jerry Rice played till he was like 39 years old, 40 years old. He was 38 with the Raiders, over 1,200 yards receiving, multiple touchdowns. He went to the Pro Bowl at almost 40 years old with excellent numbers. I said, this dude is what he win, 3, 4 Super Bowls?
4, I think. Yeah.
And dude, he's a Hall of Famer. He has like 50 something touchdowns more than the next 2 closest guys, which is Randy Moss and Terrell Owens. Like he's the greatest receiver to ever touch a football field.
Yeah.
And I tell him all the time, do you guys know why he played so long? No, coach, like I said, he had every accolade you could have. I think, and I can only speak on this because this is what I believe, because I feel the same way.
I was going to say heart and determination. I don't know what you're going to say, but those would be reasons why I think
that's automatic with him. With most great athletes, hard work and determination. Those you have to have those elements, or you're not going to be as good as you become. Right?
true. Yep.
It was the fact, like I think it was. Now follow me. I think it was. He had multiple touchdowns in the Super Bowl. I think he was a Super Bowl MVP, if I'm not mistaken, at least once.
Yeah.
But he did not. Come on, man. There's nothing he didn't do. But I think what drove him to keep playing was he's thinking about, that drop pass that I dropped,
Right.
or that missed touchdown that I didn't catch, or I had 13 catches, 200 yards receiving, and 2 touchdowns, but I dropped a 5-yard slant.
Right.
To get the first down. Like, so that's the way I think of things. Like, I'm basically saying in a nutshell, if I woke up every day and it was like Groundhog Day and I never could be better than my current situation, I probably wouldn't want to live.
No.
Like, why would you? There's nothing to look forward to. But the simple fact that that whole story I said was to give you the picture. I'm chasing greatness. The parallel to this shit and the crazy part to this shit is you're never gonna be great. Let me take that back. There's levels to being great.
Yeah.
The greatest that you have in your mind, you're never gonna reach it. That's the journey. That's the beautiful shit of it, because you can't never get it. It's unattainable.
Yeah.
Because there will be always something more that I feel like I can do. And I just don't have time to get it done. And when I say time, I'm talking about real time. And the more time you get older and older and you age and you're not able to do the shit.
Yeah.
So in essence, you don't have enough time. So that's the way I think. Like, yo, I woke up again today. Somebody somewhere did not get the privilege of waking up this morning, but Dante did. Man, I got to think. I got to be have my creative juices flowing. What kind of message can I give one of my players, one of my students?
Yeah.
What can I impart on that person to give them a different outlook on life other than the way they see it for themselves right now? Because they're 15, 16, 17, 18, 20, 21, 23, 25. I've been that age. They haven't been 44. So
Yeah.
I can help impact their lives. So now, once again, information. If I had this 44-year-old information at
Yeah.
14, oh, man, that's crazy. That's genius. Like I had this capacity to think the way I think now at 14. Oh my God. So to
Right.
me, in my mind, that's the thing. It's just like when Milt Stiegel took me and Corey Banks under his wing when we were all living in Atlanta and
Yeah.
telling us about the business of this shit.
Yeah. That's huge. Yeah. That was huge.
Ooh. So then I became my own agent up there, and then I paid it forward. And I think
Yeah.
that's why I still could have played about 3 more years. I think that's why things happened in BC the way they happened because I became what Milt was to me and Corey. I became that in Vancouver.
You know what? I think that's the best and could have been, and Milt would probably agree. The best way you could thank him for what he taught you was just paying it forward. I bet you if you sat him down and you said, Milt, how can I repay you for this? I'm almost willing to bet he would say, pay it forward.
No, Milt, we have a great relationship. Like he taught me how to be a professional. Even though thought I was already a professional, he really showed us how to be a professional from
Did
a
you
good.
still have the dreads?
Yeah, yeah. Like
Because I might, if I was Milt, I might have been like, Dante, them dreads gotta go.
ah, I cut them because I wanted to cut them, and then like I got rid of all my gold teeth and shit. But you know, when I say professional, I'm not talking about that. I was always a sharp tool in the shed or the toolbox. Now, mama and daddy didn't raise no dummy, so I just for me, when you mature, you put away you like I got nice pearly whites. Why am I wearing all this expensive ass fucking gold in my mouth, diamonds
It
and
was,
shit?
it was a cool thing to do back then. I'm sorry to say, but I mean,
And from
you know,
and from where I'm from, that was a thing. Like in
yeah,
growing up as a kid in the '80s, like the dope boys, yeah, gold teeth and shit, like that was a thing. So you know, you go through phases and then you grow out of them because you mature, you know. When I was a boy, I did childish things. When I became a man, I put away those childish things, right? So Imma always be a big kid at heart, but there's certain things I just won't fucking do. Like that's dumb. Why would I like it doesn't make any sense. Because maturation process and I'm a grown ass man and I got things that, there's a lot to on the line to lose
yeah,
from doing some of the shit I did 20, 30 years ago. So, you know, Milt will forever, we will forever be indebted. Now I got so much love and respect for Milt because he didn't have to do that. He didn't have to give us intricate details on how to conduct our business, you know.
yeah,
So gotta pay it forward. And that's why I'm in the position that I am now, doing what I'm doing now, and I'm paying it forward and it's paying huge dividends, you know.
yeah,
So
yeah,
that's what drives me every day. It's not about me so much. Like I feel like I'm blessed beyond measure. Like I made it 1% NFL, CFL, professional football, Division 1 college scholarship out of high school. Like God has blessed me crazy.
yep,
I'm still getting blessed. So it's not about me. My career was great. I don't have any regrets about my career. I mean, my name is on the trophy twice. That's over 100 years old.
that's amazing. Yeah,
I was one of the best
yeah,
at my position, one of. So
yeah,
I don't have, and that's why I say in regards to regrets, I don't have too many because it was good. I'm not Al Bundy right now. I'm not, oh, I scored 4 touchdowns. So high. I don't
no, you gotta be humble, right? You gotta be humble, man.
because I'm not tripping because it happened. I don't have to relish in what was because what's going to be is even greater.
Yeah,
So I did what I did. Okay, if whoever thinks is great, cool. If they called me, I talked to them. If and when it actually happens, and I get to fly up there and do the whole shit, great. If not, I'm not gonna lose no sleep over this shit because
No.
knowing everybody
No.
else know what it is. So,
Yeah.
eh, and what I'm doing now is fulfilling. So I'm not. I'm still around the game. I'm a young 44 and I'm having fun. And like I said, I'm being highly impactful in these young men's lives. So that's that's where I get a lot of my excitement from still because I'm still in it, you know.
Yeah.
Like guys, they're not playing no more, and it's like they don't know what to do. And they're like still work thinking about motherfucker, that was 11 years ago. Playing my last football game. I don't
Yeah.
want to football game. Even though I probably could. I'm
It's
in
it it starts crazy to think it was already 11 years ago. Like it has gone like that fast, man.
11 seasons, shit, 2014.
Yep.
Well, it's getting close to 11 seasons. It's been a long time, and I don't. I'm not missing it as a player. I miss the locker room. I miss all my teammates. I miss Cato. Rest in peace. You know, there's some people that's no longer here that I had good relationship with. That you know, you know, things change, times change, people come and go. Eventually, we all got an expiration date.
Yep.
Unfortunately, so let's max this shit out. Enjoy your life as much as possible while you're here. And, you know, that's what I was talking about earlier is that legacy that when I'm done, I want people to still be in this platform and I'm brought up in a positive light.
Yeah. I
And it's
agree.
the legacy part of it, man. We gotta do some exceptional shit while we're here. Cause that's why
Yeah.
we are here, right? And that
I
makes
agree.
that makes it better because
Mhm.
somebody coming along up after you and alluding to what I was talking to about earlier with Milt. He giving us this knowledge now. I got to pay it forward. So the
Yeah.
same way he was with us is the same way I am as a coach, as a mentor. You know, I mean, you can't grow, and we come from that era where we not. Oh, that old motherfucker don't know what he talking about. No, we listening because we're learning. Information is critical.
Yeah. Yeah.
Information and communication rules the nation.
That's right. And we never stop learning, right? We're learning every day right now. Soak it in, right?
Absolutely. So that's just
Yeah.
that's just my biggest gripe with the younger generation. They think they know every fucking thing. They don't know what they don't know, and they just and then it's like when I was that age, I was yearning for information. It was great. It was to help you out. If somebody could give me, if somebody could tell me, hey, what do you want to, be? Want to be
Yeah.
a real estate agent? You want to be a lawyer, a doctor? Or you want to be a construction, the general manager of a company? What is it that
Yeah.
you aspire to do? And if I told them and they would say, well, look, take my hand, I'm gonna walk you from A to Z.
Yeah. I'd go.
I would
100%.
I would think twice. Hell
No.
yeah. Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
I say all that to say that's what's going on in these young people not taking the hand.
Can you
Because
imagine that, Tay? Can you imagine that? Like you just said, if I'm 13, 14 years old and I walked up to you and said, Mr. Marsh,
Mhm.
Dante, I want to be a professional football player. Can you please put me under your wing and teach me everything you know and please help me try to get to that point? I know damn well you would do everything you could.
But that you of course you fucking right. So when I've done speaking engagements, right? Or I'm talking to a lot of young people, whether it's at a camp in a camp setting, when I'm talking to my players at the junior college, or if I'm doing speaking engagements at schools or just with athletes in general. Young people, what is the most crucial thing that you can ever have? What must you obtain? They looking around, they throwing out answers. Get yourself a mentor. That's the most important person. Find someone that you have admiration and respect for, and that you aspire to do the exact same shit that they're doing. Make sure they're successful, and you have this respect and admiration for them. You go get under their wing and become a sponge. That's a mentor. That's the
Yeah.
most important fucking thing a young person can have. a mentor. So now you have somebody that's been successful in whatever the field is you desire, that's fucking successful. They can show you how to be fucking successful.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
if I want to make a lot of money, that shit is tapped out. If I want to make a lot of money, then I need to hang around and put myself in circles with people that make a lot of fucking money. Period.
Yeah. Yeah.
I say it's this law of attraction, energy, universe.
Yeah.
So get you a mentor so they can explain to you the pitfalls. Hey, just like when, was it Mufasa is telling Simba, hey, all of this shit is yours, right? But don't go over there because the hyenas are over there. Giving them the lay of the land and, showing them the pitfalls of what he will be dealing with once he becomes king.
Yeah.
Young got to be more receptive. We were more receptive than they are. It's too much of a gap, and it's a butting of heads is why I think that the world is, well, the Western part of the world, our part of the world, is in such chaotic times. It's such a chaotic mess because nobody is seeing eye to eye and nobody's willing to be receptive to information, good, positive information. That's just, I don't know, man. I could talk about this shit all night. That's just truly what I believe. Like, like I said, if somebody would have told me at 14, 15, okay, what you want to do with your life? Yada, yada, yada. Okay. Take my hand. I'm going to walk you on your whole journey and show you how to get there. Say less. You have to ask me twice.
Yeah.
I mean, that's just, so I think with this generation, we're dealing with young people that just refuse to take the information because they think they got all the answers. So you really don't. You haven't lived long enough to know anything. All you know is the shit you see on social media. You haven't. Once again, we were outside every day, right? These kids don't even go outside.
No, I know.
We were getting real life social skills in the streets.
Yeah.
We go to amusement parks, Great America, Six Flags. Hey, at 5 o'clock, let's meet back up at the water fountain and see who got the most phone numbers. Beach Board were like all the amusement parks back in the 80s and 90s. Like there wasn't no phones. You had a goddamn beeper. Then you try to remember, you had to find a pen and I got to get this girl number and write the shit down.
Yeah.
It's different, man. So that's one of my goals is to kind of bridge that, give that old school 80s and 90s aura, that essence of what that era was for us, and try to give it to them, because I think we lived in the best decades ever, the best era ever.
Thank you for joining us on this episode of Inside the Minds podcast with Dante Marsh and Ryan Hyde. Check out our Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter accounts to see our upcoming show announcements, links to our previous shows, and sound bites. And don't forget to hit that follow button while you're there.
Hey, this is Logan Bandy.
Hi, this is Zane Frazier.
This is Art Jimerson.
Chris Rainey.
This is Boots Electric, and thank you for joining me on my special guest spot on Inside the Minds podcast, where everybody wants to be if they're smart.
Good field position start, play action. Burr's going to load it up, but he's short on the throw. Intercepted. Dante Marsh has his 30th career interception and a good return back into Ottawa territory. Well, the usually strong-armed Henry Burris comes up short.